Welcome everyone to another Inside Xbox, or in this case, Developer Direct.
Yep.
We are here in the year 2024.
With the new owners of Activision.
Hello.
Is that what they're officially calling themselves now?
This is usually how their shows start. They usually start with some
Direct
kind of
from the
montage of people.
devs.
Direct from the Deves.
Oh yeah, people walking
That's not
down
how
hallways.
that's said.
For studios.
The summer, they were
For
united.
games. Is this a trailer?
But only
Yeah,
one.
this summer they united to save the world. What?
And 4 teams will enter, but only one will survive.
Coming to Xbox.
Also
Watch
CC.
this guy do a cartwheel. Watch these people clap hands. Watch them do
play the
tabletop RPGs.
Maybe it's like in the Sonic 06 trailer. If you thought you knew green, it's time to think.
Also,
bigger?
don't think I haven't seen you in the crowds, Todd.
I know! Like, come on, they must have
They
known
just
we
close-
spotted.
It's like Jeremiah, we like sneak him.
Alright, so first
The
up, it's probably
developer
Upside
underscore
Game Power.
direct.
Alright.
See- Oh no, never mind. Obsidian's first. All right, so let's see what. Hopefully, they'll be able to see more of Avowed then. 'Cause, what I saw in the previous show looked okay, but I didn't really get a good grasp on how the game is.
Dead fire.
Dramatic music.
Welcome to Obsidian Entertainment. I'm so proud to share with you our upcoming fantasy action RPG, Avowed. Avowed is an
And its
adventure
sequel,
into the
Disavowed.
Frontlands,
Heh.
a frontier at the edge of the
You
north.
know, it does seem to be becoming a trend that nowadays a lot of sequels will have, like, the suffix of dis added to it.
At Obsidian, we love creating worlds with deep themes, dynamic gameplay.
Yeah, Pillars.
and
I
thoughtful
heard very good
reactivity.
things about Pillars of Eternity.
And Avowed is no different.
Yeah, Obsidian are a very
We
solid
set out to
dev
blend
team.
the believable and fantastic.
The only
To
game
give
of theirs that I
players
played in a major way was
experience
Stick of Truth.
like no other.
Oh,
It's
speaking of which,
colorful,
isn't there a new
vibrant,
South
it's
Park
strange,
game
it's
coming
one of the
about?
Yeah,
most
but it's a
incredible
more
settings
contained
in the world of
experience.
Aurora.
I don't think Trey and Matt are even involved, aside from doing the
Yes.
voices, of course.
I think they still are, just again in minor capacity.
Yeah, I mean, they always do the voices in every South Park game, regardless of whether or not they're also writing.
So I'm guessing, despite them going back to the wizarding element, it's not a sequel to Fractured Butthole.
I think it's still connected to that. It's just a different thing. Snowball fights.
Here to talk more
Because South Park Digital Studios is an actual branch of the studio that actually handles video games with talks with the developers about stuff and stuff like that.
System that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your
Oh,
loadout.
so I can be...
I think I remember this from some of the early trailers. There's a bit of inspiration from Fable.
So yes, you can be a
Looks
sword,
like
you can be a sword fighter, spellcaster, even a gunner, all in one.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Theo, because based on what I've seen, it seems like people would say that this is a better Fable game than the actual Fable we saw last
Well,
time.
we haven't seen actual gameplay of that. So
Yeah, true. I was about to ask, has that Fable game seen more stuff coming?
supposedly next year, gone lives.
This looks like a spin-off of World of Warcraft, but before they got the IP. So
Actually, in terms of presentation, aspect and everything, it's more reminiscent to Elder Scrolls.
yeah, and when it comes to World of Warcraft for me, I'm just gonna wait until if it gets an Xbox release.
Will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we
My
provide
PC got it
customizable
on that.
loadouts that can be quickly
Does
switched
it
during
need
combat.
to be in
That
first
means you can
person,
play
though?
however you want.
I think it
Equip
is.
a sword and shield
Again,
and
kind of like
charge
Elder
into battle.
Scrolls.
Dual-wield pistols and control the encounter mid-range. Or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage.
Oh, you can
use your
dual
enchanted wand
wield
to freeze
wands,
enemies,
yo!
And then use your offhand weapons power
Well,
attack.
that's
Wands
common,
and
man.
swords.
We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will
You
have
know, I
meaningful
never get
choices
why
for
certain
how to
interviews
build
they like
and
to shoot it
progress
like a
their
movie by
envoys in the world
shooting
of the living
the guy
lands
who's
as they
being
get to know the
interviewed
game
from the
and
side
was
like
so-
it's an
explore the
epic
many diverse
cinematic
regions.
shot.
I think it's. I have a different issue. It's more so that this woman looks very comfortable on the camera talking to us, right? The guy on the other hand, I get the feeling he's probably super nervous and uncomfortable talking to the camera.
Do you think that's why they were shooting him from different angles to make him look more epic?
I don't know.
Yeah, but they were also shooting the woman from different angles.
This woman clearly has good on-camera skills, whereas the guy, I'm not like he seems to me like he's secretly uncomfortable.
I'm guessing he's probably one of the devs. Again, not to say that all devs are like that, but I have noticed a very recurring element that the people actually working on the games don't always make for the best spokespeople.
Our families deserve to know
No,
we fought
they do
and
not.
died for them.
Making the right choice.
Depends on who it is. Depends on the developer, of course. It's not black and white.
Ooh, multiple choices in morality.
Again, Obsidian has always been a fan of traditional tabletop RPGs, and that involves
We
that.
were ambushed by those miserable Zorps. I was so surprised, and it
I
was so
don't
dark.
want to say it's having a
Just got
Baldur's
separated
Gate
from
3 aesthetic, but god, it is reminding me of Baldur's Gate 3. Probably just a
But I have no
coincidence,
anyone else
though.
made it out. Of course he did.
Keep in mind, Larian
So
Studios
I'm
also
assuming
was
Never
developing
has a
their
vote
own
he won't say out loud.
RPG similar to
That
Pillars of
Captain
Eternity
Ruiki
called
was sick,
Divinity around
but I
the
was
same time.
paranoid,
So it's more of
and I
a
was like,
case
"Dumb
of both
baby."
studios know what
I
they're
heard all
doing and know
often
their source
and loud.
material.
I do feel sorry for any other medieval RPG that's going to be released after Baldur's Gate 3 because Baldur's Gate 3 is so goated that it's going to become the standard that people compare it
You
to.
can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
Yeah, it looks like it'll probably be fine, but
Real
it's not my
battle
cup of
isn't something
tea.
you can prepare for, is it?
Yeah, it definitely looks like
That
it
looks
is.
like that looks like it's fine.
It definitely
for
looks
what
like
it's
it.
trying to do.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's fulfilling
I'll take
the
the badges.
areas of its
Going
niche.
back to third born.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either
You
way,
hear that,
when
Dwebs? You
return to
can't just
town,
do stuff
you'll see the
recklessly without
consequences of your
People will beat
consequences.
the
actions
shit
and the
out of
choices
you.
made during this quest.
And Witz is like, well, I guess I'm not getting this one then.
Nah, I view it as a challenge.
Well, given how you did in that one shooter game, yeah, I could see that.
Murder hobo behavior.
Oh, sure, you should see. Oh, God, what was that game where Dwebs practically
Red
killed?
Faction.
Yeah, you
Red
should have seen
Faction.
Dwebs' Red Faction. That is pretty much him being a space murder hobo.
With the dull or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver
I
They
like-
were
emotional experiences for our players.
I like the
they were complicit in their actions. They had it coming.
Untamed valleys with
I like the rendering shown of the worlds here and there. Granted, you know, those could be bull shots overall, you know.
I also get the idea why these resembled in a lot of places also Elder Scrolls, because if I remember correctly, a channel, I forgot which one, a podcast that you told me about, mentioned that Obsidian had asked Bethesda multiple times to do an Elder Scrolls spin-off, but they were always denied, so they basically said, fuck it, we're doing our original IP.
Ladies and gentlemen, we found a new criteria for working at Obsidian. If you're a male, you must have a full-grown beard.
And mustache to go with it.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more about the game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to
At
explore
E3?
our
Oh,
plans
no.
when Avowed
Ah,
releases.
I
too
mean,
soon.
summer game.
Truly
Well,
the end of an
there's
era.
always summer games fest.
Yeah.
I hope Painter hasn't jinxed it.
No, please don't worry. We're gonna get more ads about stopping vaping.
I thought we were supposed to
Avowed.
keep those confined to the Game Awards, damn it.
Again, looks good, not my cup of tea. though.
Release fall this year.
It was a good showing of the game. They showed us the gameplay, showed us the pretty visuals, gave us the overall description of how the game works.
Well,
Oh,
remember,
well
Joe,
done.
games like that one are, despite also being heavy on the story, in terms of presentation, they prefer to just, being very integrated with the game.
Alright, now.
Right.
Okay, so.
Hellblade, can we
Integration.
actually see
See
gameplay?
gameplay, please.
And I mean real game. Will the real gameplay please step up?
For those who have stuck with our
Basically,
channel
this
for a
game
bit,
was announced in 2019, and we've yet to see a proper gameplay demonstration.
Hi, I'm
Does
Dom.
that room just said it looked like they developed it in someone's kitchen.
Tom Matthews. I feel like I've seen this guy somewhere before.
The most baffling part of that is that this is a sequel to Hellblade 1, which means they already had the framework beforehand, so it shouldn't have taken this.
Apparently,
Didn't
one of the
Hellblade
snippets-
1, did that come out on Series XS?
Yes.
Apparently, one of the snippets of pre-stream of this mention of the Ninja Theory apparently went on a trip to Iceland to do photographs of the environment to actually recreate that. So I guess it's something a bit different in terms of compared to the first game.
Yeah.
So
Basically, I don't know if it's the same over there on the Xbox store, but at the time of this recording, Hellblade 1 is only €3 on Steam, so it might be like on a super low price right now. If you check the Xbox store, you might want to check that.
Unless it's already on Game Pass.
Oh, I saw
It's on
it.
Game Pass, obviously, because it's a Microsoft game now.
So going off of that description, I'm guessing the character had an issue with vengeance in the first game or something.
Yes,
something along those lines. Yes.
mind you, it's a kind of complex story that involves also, you know, trauma, coping about it, and you know, mental health.
So what does she have left to do in the second game, I wonder?
Continue
I don't know.
her vengeance.
I don't know because I only got like an hour into the first game.
I don't remember with how much of an intensity the first game ends with a sequel beta, but there was actually room left for stuff.
So
Like my main issue with the first game was that I found the puzzle design to be not very good. Let's just say.
So I'm
Yes,
curious.
Hellblade 1 is on Game Pass.
I'm curious. In regards to Heavenly Sword, is there any connection other than, oh, ha ha ha, instead of a Heavenly Sword, it's a Hellblade?
Nothing more.
Okay.
Discover along with us how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Oh,
right,
shoot, Death Stranding.
Don't get me wrong, the game looks gorgeous, Ninja Theory, and yeah, that's a good shot of her walking, but
Well, even while we were talking, they did showcase some combat.
true, but
It would be nice to see like a
I feel like
dedicated
yeah,
gameplay sequence.
yeah, kind of like what they did with Avowed just earlier, where they actually showed us proper uncut footage of the game being played.
And in terms of price, it costs £2.49.
There you go. So basically, it's on.
It's a bit higher than $3, but roughly the same still.
That is,
Yeah, so basically, if you want to get Hellblade 1, right now is the best time.
I'll
And
say
you don't
that's,
have Game Pass.
that is a. Well, I mean, even if you do have Game Pass, like to get to permanently own it for, shoot, like essentially $3. I'm not even a Ninja Theory fan, and even I might consider that. Like it is.
Yeah.
The new motion capture space.
I have the PS4 version, and it runs at a flawless 60 on the PS5. Problem is, it does have some backwards compatibility issues on the PS5, so I guess I'll just go with the Steam version.
That's right. That game was made back before Ninja Theory were owned by Microsoft.
We have all new combat for the sequel.
It came out in 2017.
There you go.
One of our key
Oh, there you go.
goals
So
is
the
the
combat
ability
looks
to
pretty
actually
much
tell a
kind of
story
exactly
about
like in the first game from what I'm seeing here.
Why am I reminded of Rise Son of
Very different from the first
Rome?
game.
No, well,
Very brutal and
yeah,
very
Resident of Rome
invested in
wanted to be more similar to the
Senua
Arkham
isn't
games.
super
This is
different.
more
Fighting for
akin to
survival,
the
and
God of
one
War
player
Norse
to feel
games
her
in
struggle
terms of
with
combat.
So it seems like it's very one-on-one oriented.
But you always have to watch out. What I'm wondering is what kind of prompt will you have for the direction of attacks, because the God of War Norse games implement a very cool trick with a character telling you to the left, to the right, or so on. You know, so I wonder. I guess one of the Senua's inside voices, if I remember correctly, does that.
So I'm guessing they got the same actress who played Senna, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Senua.
Location,
Yes,
everything.
Senua, yes.
It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified.
Interesting
in
that we
achieving
haven't
a
heard
deep level
from.
of immersion
Well, I
to
wonder.
help suspend
Then
your
again, I don't
disbelief
even know if he's
before you
still at
enter Senua's
Ninja
story.
Theory now.
I mean,
Well, I'm
I
glad
think-
they-
He's directing this
Do a
game.
few
Yeah.
references.
Oh!
Let's just say, Joba,
He
if
wrote
I
and
remember-
directed the first one, so I'm assuming he's doing the same
honestly,
thing. for
Joba,
this.
after what happened with DMC, they quietly tried to avoid having him being the spokesperson of the team.
That's
Yeah.
probably
That
for
works,
the
that's
best.
amazing.
Because I'll give it credit, like, no, like, I mean, for as much as I joke about Ninja Theory, I am liking how the team here is portrayed, at the very least. Like, if I was somebody who had no idea about Ninja Theory prior, I'd feel safe with these people for the most part.
One key component that was also in the first game is audio, because, again, Senua has, I wouldn't call it DAD.
In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through a spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music.
But yeah, it's basically also this reflected in gameplay by telling you a bit things about, you know, the world, even in combat.
They're using binaural audio processing. Very interesting.
Since it's not going to be on any platform I own, and since I already didn't care much for the gameplay of the first game, I think I might just skip this one. Like, I'll get the first one because it's super cheap right now, but like, I'm not really good. I didn't really enjoy the gameplay much, so I'm not really going to buy an Xbox for this.
I don't even remember in what capacity the game was localized in my country, if it was just text or also voice.
I can tell you it has Italian language. I don't know if it has a dub, but it does have Italian
text.
Well,
the Steam page should have it check mark.
Oh, footage from the Game Awards when they talked about this, that's right.
Again, it's set in the 10th century, if I remember, I think they mentioned. So there's a lot of, you know, culture and mythology that are actually taken from the actual, you know, history of Iceland.
I love how they were pulling some literal ASMR there. Cute.
Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech, and that's our aim in Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2 is to not
it's a saga. Well, okay.
Well,
to deliver something really.
The first game was called Senua Sacrifice, so we're just having a suffix to Senua.
As a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character, and they can.
Well, I, for one, cannot relate to having to track down vengeance with a hellish blade of legendary grandeur. Most unrealistic.
It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua.
They seem passionate. I don't know if this game is really for me, though.
So,
like, my thing with the gameplay is that it's combat and puzzles. The combat is fine. The puzzles.
Okay, yeah, Tio, how...
My question is, because I know how the first game plays, my biggest question is, how much of a degree of actual interactivity do you have? Is this just an experience via audio and visuals, or is the gameplay, you know, a bit more free than in the first game?
Is the first Hellblade game...
That's also the weird thing. May 21st.
Yeah, the release date leaked, but shortly earlier today. So.
Ninja Theory's previous games, you know, being more Devil May Cry close, sometimes literally, we did have that kind of degree of freedom, but with Senua, they try to be a bit more artsy, and I'm not super fan of that.
More scripted? Wait, unknown user? What? Oh, are we getting a secret fifth announcement?
Apparently. Let's see.
What is that?
Let me guess, a shadow drop.
Square Enix.
What? Square Enix?
Oh, the mana game.
Surprise!
Oh, okay.
What does that have to...
I recognize the art style.
Is that like... Well, let me guess. First to Xbox, then the rest?
I don't remember if it was actually announced also for Xbox or not.
It's gonna be a multi-plat.
They did mention already that it was multi-plat, but...
Not to pull a Sonic Superstar speculation, but that image made it look like there's also room for a sixth thing.
Yeah,
oh. Also, I love that. Hello, Xbox players. I know that we don't always have the best relationship with Xbox, but we're cool now.
Last year, Phil actually did mention about committing, particularly with Square Enix, with stuff like, remember, this year Final Fantasy 14 is actually getting onto Xbox. It's a big deal with the new expansion.
I will say...
I love this art style so much.
Yeah,
that looks very nice.
And that's cool. I just wish these things would start coming to Xbox Day 1. Like, Star Ocean 2 didn't release on Xbox Day 1, even though supposedly...
I think it's basically for a different... Basically going for the different direction, where Square is prioritizing making contracts for temporary exclusivity with Sony.
Oh, Tio, I don't know if you ever got around to checking them, but in regards to some of the remakes with the re-releases of originals, are they different enough to warrant separate commentaries, or
me and Pedro were discussing about these. The Secret of Mana remake is a big contentious, even if I don't have as many problems as a lot of other people are. Definitely, if I have to showcase to you the original CNS version, I'm using a particular ROM hack that actually provides a better translation because it's basically Java. It's the worst. Ted Woolsey at his worst.
Let me guess, like it's Ted Woolsey, but not actually productive.
Content as well.
Again, it warrants an explanation, a big explanation another time, Java, but to put it bluntly, a lot of stuff were cut, rearranged, or altered for no real reason.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's the creator of the Mana series.
Again, the cool thing is that the creators of both Mana and Saga always remained as Square Enix, even in the dire times of the 7th gen. So they always pushed for their franchises to continue, and now they actually have an occasion to do it.
The literal
could I maybe have that round bunny plush in the background, please?
Yes,
Can I have it?
Like that. Yeah, there you go, the Rabbite. It's one of the signature monsters. Most of these are signature monsters.
Sure, you can have it for the low price of £500.
Oh, we're counting the export cost. But yeah, no, I actually do remember the Rabbite from our Legend of Mana playthrough.
Yeah, the first game was the first game, while taking on its own, was marketed in the West as a Final Fantasy spin-off. Same goes for Saga.
You know that does seem to have been Square's go-to back in the day. We have a less
again, keep in mind, Joe, it was mostly for marketing onto the West only, and we're localizing mostly only in America, so Europe did not really have a chance to have a real title.
I love how Mystic
looks really good, actually.
I love how Mystic Quest, despite not originally being a Final Fantasy game, pretty much got immortalized as a Final Fantasy game, to the point where I think even some Final Fantasy compilations recognize Mystic Quest.
It's a game that Square Enix probably will never re-release because they're probably ashamed of it.
So this is Regiment of Mana, where you can, I guess...
Literal new game.
Oh my god, you collect Wampa fruits!
The first new Mana game since the PS2 days.
Mana Bandicoot.
There were a couple on the Nintendo DS, I think.
Not that the other games they showed hadn't looked great. They definitely have, but this is much more appealing to me.
Oh, so that giant creature is supposed to be a Yorkshire Terrier.
Just a big one, yeah.
And a bit hairier.
I think the main issue,
that is the goodest boy.
Yeah.
Go on, Pedro.
No, Shira, I'm gonna have to contest that. No gaming doggo even matches Torgal, and I will die on that hill.
I honestly thought you were gonna say
not even
Trico.
Trico, apparently. And don't worry, Shiroi, I can tell you that this is not the kind of franchise where they actually kill off your companion out of nowhere just for the sake of that.
Well, here's the thing too. I don't consider Trico a doggo. That's a different.
What about Missile?
Oh yeah, Missile.
Missile is great and all, but Turco's the goat. Sorry, but anyway, I think the main. That's the thing, Shiroi. I think the main. Well, actually, I'll save it for my final thoughts.
Also, sure, which Missile, just to be sure.
I guess the Ghost Trick one. I see.
Ghost Trick.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. Cool. You're. Oh, I see. So, have you made it through that whole game?
No, not yet.
Ah, okay then. The best is
I'm going through other things first, as far as very heavy text-based stuff goes. But that is something I do want to get to after I'm done with what I'm doing. So.
Yes.
There you go. The franchise has always been these particular action-based RPG, so this is nothing new.
Oh, that guy looks like Evan from Kuni 2.
Huh,
yeah.
But older. So who's Red Riding Hood here?
Main protagonist. If I had to guess, considering everything, he might be nameless, or you gave him a name.
He reminds me actually a bit of some of the male character designs in past Mana games. Too.
Well, it has been consistent like that, Jova.
I'm actually wondering who's doing the music for this one.
Not Yoko Shimomura, I know that. I think it's the other... keep in mind, Shimomura was kind of a one one-time difference kind of thing for Age of Mana. Sure, she left an impression with her work, but the franchise was used to having a different composer.
I guess.
I don't remember, their name.
You might want to also release the collection on Xbox while you're at it.
I think, okay, I don't remember. Is it already on PC? I know that the Saga
it's on PC, but I don't think it's on other platforms. Let me double check.
No, it's on Switch. It first came on Switch, and then ported onto Steam, because the same happened with Saga.
Yeah. So, hey, SCWRM, you might want to get that collection on other platforms while you're at it.
Yeah, summer 2024.
Alright, so I'm guessing next is the Oxide game. I don't know what... this is the one that I don't know anything at all. I don't even know what this is, so let's see.
It's from, if I can correct, it's from a studio that was done.
Let's see who they circle next. Oh, yeah, Vicious Amana will be coming in summer.
So they're saving Indie to be the show closer.
The main event.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I love the transition art they got for each game. It's nice.
Like I'll give Microsoft credit. They definitely have come quite a ways in their presentation of these shows.
I mean,
this one's been pretty good.
I mean, part of me will miss this is gonna be lit that they used to have. But yeah, this is better, of course. But a part of me kind of wish we could have had
I think the studio used to be specialized in Civilization style RTSs. I don't know if this new one is the same or not. Yeah, 4X is technically the term.
So what you're saying, sure, is that this show is lit?
Okay.
No.
It's kind of similar to stuff like Civilization.
It does remind me of that.
The weird thing is that these kind of games, while they do receive ports from consoles, they really just work best with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
So I don't know how clunky they are to be played on.
It's kind of like with it's kind of like with something like the Depona games and stuff like that. It's cool that they're on other platforms, but like a game like that, you really need to play it with a mouse and keyboard. It's just like.
I mean, to be fair, most consoles do have a compatibility with a mouse anyway. So worst case scenario, and most mouses are USB at this point. So a worst case scenario you can adapt to that.
Yeah, I was about to ask, has a console yet adapted mouse capability?
To be fair, Jova, they existed since the SNES era adapters.
Oh no! I get that. What I mean is like, well, has a console actually made it so that if you were to say put the USB of a wireless mouse in it, it would function properly?
Okay, no,
the Xbox consoles do.
I know. I think also the PlayStation 4 does that. But remember, the PS1 Jova had a dedicated peripheral, the PlayStation
that
mouse.
mouse that we saw in Astro's Playroom.
The
first clock tower is perfectly compatible with that, and if anything, works better with that.
So I guess to be fair, you could use a mouse with these consoles.
Yeah, that's what was my reasoning a few minutes ago. I guess if you really want to, you can just do that in an app like that.
Is what we call the living world. It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life, an intuitive, authentic, and immersive space, a blank canvas for players to paint the society of their dreams.
Yeah, it definitely seems like my usual Civ game. No smoke against that, It looks fine, it's just... It looks like it's another Civilization game. You get what you pay for.
When it comes to these 4X games, these technically are fine, but I prefer the space-oriented one. Like, recently, Sega had one called Endless Space 2, which is very enjoyable in terms of what you can do with it.
Rule how you want to rule. And no feature better exemplifies this than the Prestige system.
To win a game of Aura, players will
yeah,
compete
that
with
involves
their to build the
games
most
like this have to involve a lot of politics.
And important nation the world has ever known. This is measured by prestige, the player's score that proves their worth as a leader.
And yeah, similar to Civilization, each civilization is represented by either an historical figure of some kind, and the special disbelief is that this historical figure leads the civilization throughout all of its ages.
Players get to decide what is most important
Is it telling that the moment I saw the thumbnail for this thing, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be a Civ game, because usually when I see somebody just standing in a typical hands-clasped pose in a very culturally rich outfit, I usually think, yep, that's a Civ game.
Oh, so your basically can build also stuff like the Wanderers from Age of Empires do.
Another aspect of Aura that I'm personally excited about is our crafting system.
The crafting system offers a unique challenge to
Yep,
the player that
crafting
they generally
system,
won't see
check.
often in the 4X genre. Succeeding
You know,
at
again,
balancing,
I'm
getting
not
the
one
right
to
things,
diss these.
turning
It
them
looks
into
like it's a
tools
game
that you
that's
need,
well
and
made. It's
finally
just,
getting to the outcome
I'll
or
admit,
reward of something
one,
like an
Civ
important
games aren't
improvement or
really my
triumph.
thing, and two,
changes the
it does
challenge that
feel
exists
like,
in
you
Aura
know,
compared to other
when you
4X
played a
games.
few Civ
When
games,
I was
you've
young-
seen a lot of
Plays
them.
out in Aura at a
When I was young, I played the first, the original Civilization for DOS all the time. I love that game. Thing is, when strategy games like those start to become more and more complex, it became a bit overwhelming to me, so I kind of stopped playing them. Like I prefer my strategy games to be very, very simple, because if like when you have like super complex systems all on top of one another, it becomes a bit overwhelming for me.
I already mentioned this when we commented on King's Quest, the King's Quest game, but I basically grew up instead with Age of Empires, which is slightly different than these.
Yeah, Age of Empires, I believe, is a lot more combat focused. Or
Yeah, it's more combat oriented. You don't really have this grid of developing your stuff. It's more showcasing smaller campaigns.
Hey,
I really wish they would re-release the original Civilization, since that game is actually a super important game for the history of the genre.
It's not Microsoft who owns the IP. Let me check.
Remind me.
These games are just like too busy mechanically and visually.
Remind me, which game, you know, okay, I'll admit, that is one of my pet peeves of Civ games. I feel like you're never really able to appreciate the true fidelity of stuff, since most of the game you're looking at stuff from a high up bird's eye view, like, I don't recall you ever really
Usually
being
on
able to
PC
close
you
in
can
on
use the wheel of the mouse to zoom in or zoom out. That's usually how it goes.
Different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific.
And then there's the micromanaging.
Remind me, which game was it that had the meme that if you triggered a glitch, Gandhi will flipping nuke
Okay,
you?
the Civilization games, but that apparently is more of a Uber Legend of Zelda. I need to do more research about it, but apparently it's only partially true.
One of the fun things in the first Civilization is that you can have one of the leaders come up to you and go, "Your civilization makes us laugh. We will agree not to crush your civilization if you pay us insert amount here." And it's actually possible for you to say no, fuck off, and and after that they'll immediately retort and say, "You might be worthy of making peace with us."
Apparently 2K owns the IP at this point, so...
Yeah, I said 2K owns them.
So we're not probably gonna see any major releases anytime soon.
I like that one of the devs was on a hammock in the office. It's like, I want a hammock in my office.
Yeah, it's very handy to have to catch up on my
rest breaks.
Yes.
Away from me. I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of Mountain Lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other. And we're so excited that we can finally see the finish line. We can't wait for players to get
She
their
was
hands
riding
on
a
the game
moped
later this
through
year.
the
But the
office.
launch of Aura is only the beginning. We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for joining us today. We can't
It
wait
looks
for
like
you
It looks fine, but it looks fine, but again, not my cup of
Yeah,
tea.
it's not really,
Yeah.
not really mine either.
People who are a fan of this
Release
genre,
this year.
I am
Yeah,
confident you'll
mostly
be eating
it's
fine
just
with
on
this.
PC, obviously.
Oh, okay, so it's not even on console.
It's probably gonna have a console release later down the line. Usually it happens like that.
Alright.
Alright,
we
now
doing the
this is
grand
actually the
finale
game that I
now?
was most looking forward to in this direct, so come on, let's see it.
Unless there's another guest. No, there you go.
No, let's see.
Alright. Machine Games. I have no idea who these people are.
They made the Wolfenstein recent games.
Oh, that was them. I guess they're owned by Microsoft too, then.
Well, yeah, they're
Well,
part
yeah.
of Bethesda.
Oh, here's another guy that looks a bit nervous and uncomfortable talking to the camera.
Hey, listen, we're just the behind the scenes people. We don't do this.
Just smile and be natural. Don't lie. Unless we tell you to, Puppet.
You aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones.
This game will make you
Okay.
Yeah,
feel like Indiana Jones.
I was about to say.
Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I get it, but I gotta add you to the tally of people who go, this game makes you insert X character.
Uh-oh, Todd alert.
Oh boy. There he is!
Da 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 dun.
Alright, Todd, what are you
okay.
cooking up here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, Todd, you're like actually, to be fair, comparing you to Bobby Kotick actually is kind of slandered towards.
It's a big. Okay, Todd is a pathological liar, but as far as I know, that's it's most out of stupidity more than anything.
Like, let me put it like this. Todd is like the Disney villain. Over the top and overblown. Bobby Kotick is like the slimy, more realistic and dark and gloomy villain who is absolutely disgusting and not charismatic.
For record, this is not the first time Bethesda has done a major licensed game. In fact, Todd already worked. One of the early works was on a couple of Terminator games, well, from what I've been told, they're not great.
Dr. Jones.
Of course.
Of course, we start with Nazis.
I was playing you.
I'm curious, did they actually drag the Harrison Ford to voice the character?
I wonder.
Could they even afford him?
Let's have a listen.
I mean, if he can do the 5th movie, why not?
Good lord, the sweat particles.
It's a quote from Simpson. My God, you're crazy.
Well, it looks like him.
They definitely got the
his
likeness
at least.
down. Machine Games.
Lucasfilm Games.
Of course.
Haven't heard from them in a while.
Alright,
Executive producer Todd Howard. Oh, it's first person.
History.
Well, it's a Bethesda game, so it's, I guess...
It works better that way. Remember, the Wolfenstein games also did that.
True.
Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs.
It does sound like Harrison Ford.
But is it him, though?
I mean, if it's not, it's a good sound, like I say.
They got the likeness, and he sounds a lot like him. Oh, wow.
Watch me.
Okay, it looks good visually.
Of course.
Gotta get the Wilhelm scream
And it's
in
got
there.
the Wilhelm scream.
Mankind has built sites of
And of course, it has the creepy crawlies as Indiana Jones films tend to have.
through these ancient sites around the
But
world.
will it have
Perfectly
snakes?
aligned circle.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they haven't used AI or anything for the voice.
I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me.
Punching him in time to the music, how
A
classy.
lot of games do. A lot of game trailers allow to do that Mickey Mousing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks really good. I really wish it was more like done in a third person. Again, the Uncharted gameplay style is perfect for an Indiana Jones game.
Like, I definitely do see the benefit of first person, but if it were me, I would have at least given players the choice of first person or third person, but I digress.
The Great Circle.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
So you mean, Jova, like the first person be like a VR title, and then third person be the game, like the standard game?
Perhaps.
Indiana Jones is such an iconic character, and he means so much to so many people.
Everyone here at the studio has their own indie stories and memories.
Oh, an Indiana Jones story made for fans by fans. Sounds like an interesting
Again,
venture.
if you don't, again, they're not too much talked about it, but there have been quite a lot of Indiana Jones games. The general consensus is that the point-and-click titles are the better ones.
To tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience.
You know, many may not know this, but ironically, back when Indiana Jones was first released, that was actually itself a throwback to much older types of media of the day. Like, it was released in the 80s. I believe it was a throwback to, like, the 30s adventure show of sorts, and essentially.
Making each action feel like your own.
Whether it's cracking your whip,
Good show, the gameplay.
solving puzzles in ancient temples, or seeing your knuckles go bloody in a fist fight.
Well, okay, I'll give them credit. They did the first. Okay, they did the thing that you should always do.
If something important is happening,
Seeing
basically.
his iconic silhouette with the hat, the whip, and so for things like cutscenes and environmental traversal, we pull the camera back.
Is the big death of the movie going to be that he loses his
okay.
hat?
So for certain set pieces, they do pull it out
this is
different
set between
places.
movie 1 and 3. Sure.
Which-
I mean, all the stuff happens between them.
By that you mean after 2 or before 2?
Well,
2 is a
remember,
prequel
2 is a
to 1.
prequel.
Yeah,
He
true.
rushes to
Yeah.
confront the thief in the college museum. The mysterious giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's curiosity. Who the hell are you? Following the trail, Indiana heads to the Vatican, hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen.
Yes, of course it's the Vatican.
One day I really need to start showing you the Dan Brown
And
trilogy.
it all unravels until he has no choice
What is
but to
that?
see it through to the end. Whatever the end may be.
Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Inferno.
Right. Of course, the iconic map travel, you gotta have that.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles when we
Indiana
looked at what
Jones.
type of game we
That's
were
what I'll
making.
call him now.
It wouldn't be indie if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic Indiana Jones experience we can make is the one that makes you think.
So in this one I can't turn Indiana Jones into a mass murderer.
Sure, there will be some
I mean, to be
obstacles
fair,
that will be more easily overcome
with the
if the
Nazis,
revolver
you know, as
gun
one of
taken
your
from
main
the
enemies, I'm pretty
But I think
sure
most of the
you'll
time
be
you'll
allowed to
have
go
more
to
fun,
town at some
and to be
point.
honest,
Yeah, like
I mean,
Indiana
we saw, we saw
Sure.
turret
Finding
section
more
before
clever ways to solve
anyway.
the problem.
Yeah.
We always want to be offering more solutions, whether it's trying a different path through the environment to get around enemies, observing enemy patrols and using them to your advantage, or using the tools at your disposal, like the whip.
It's an amazing global adventure.
So, potential multiple ways of
We
solving
have these
certain
really diverse
levels.
environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the pyramids of Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location.
It's going
and
to
the
be
time
a
period the
world
game is
globe-trotting
set in, and which
adventure, I
ones
see.
A couple of other
authentic
games
and
did
accurate.
that, like the Infernal
We love
Machine, if I
creating
remember
rich, vibrant
correctly.
worlds. And in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
I'll say, if this game is good enough, I could see it pretty much being adopted into the film canon.
Well, a couple, if I remember correctly, the general gist of it, Job, is that the games manages to not, you know, harm
So we
the
got a
canon
composer.
enough so we can just feed it.
We also take a
So
very
we got a
new
composer
approach
named
to things like
Gordy
cinematics.
Harb
We're very
to
physical
do
with our
basically a
production
John
style.
Williams
We
impression.
use a lot of stunt actors.
I might as well.
Things
They,
like this
a
help
lot,
us bridge
basically,
the
with
gap
the composer
between
for the
making
Star
a
Wars
game
games, they tend to
and
do the
making a
same
movie.
exact thing.
It is kind of a
Yeah.
shame that they couldn't get John Williams back, especially since the guy has recently announced that, no, he ain't retiring, he's still got some fight left in him.
Gina has a personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Gina is an investigative reporter who has a lot riding on this adventure.
Ah,
She's
cool.
been
So it's
tracking
Indiana
Lee for some
Jones'
time.
turn to
Now
have
she's
a
found an
reporter
ally in this
compatriot.
determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other in order to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Okay, then. Let's see if we can keep up.
Fine. What do you mean if I? We always love.
Okay, that was a
villains.
classic
I think we
indie
might have
moment.
Found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss. He's this intensely psychological man. He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating it.
He's highly intelligent and the perfect foil for Indy. They're both brilliant people, compelled by their passions and obsessions, but driven
But
down
one is
quality.
evil.
I mean,
And gets under
yeah.
your skin like he gets under Indy's
It's more or less part of the Indiana formula.
In the sense of Africa.
One of our mottos for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is adventure first.
Personal space.
In every indie adventure, there are always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
That's been one of those.
I really got to voice it.
And we've ended up with this.
But how am I supposed to threaten you with my evil threats if I don't get up close to you?
Well, do they got to voice it?
They have not specified yet.
We haven't mentioned yet.
We do know that they used a ton of stunt actors, so yes.
I mean, obviously for the mocap, it's it's just dedicated mockups, and they just recreated the face based on the movies.
Multi-purpose as possible. We want it integrated into every aspect of the game.
They probably had a whip coach also for this.
To make your way around the environment. You can use it as a distraction. And yes, you can.
Oh, Metal Gear, eh? Oh, you can actually whip enemies in the crotch. Damn.
Ow.
Yes.
Puzzles are a key.
It's like the worst game of wet towel ever.
Yeah.
Welcome to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them. Epic traps.
So I guess if you're not really a big fan of puzzles, you can circumvent them.
Right in with their
I guess, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
like,
it's just
what's
like,
the point then?
I mean, Indiana, one of the again, it's like one of the Uncharted games, right? Like solving the puzzles at the temple so you can unlock the next door in the temple and find the treasure. That's kind of the whole point of an adventure serial. That, like,
I wonder if what
How about no though?
How about no?
Well, Shirai, by that logic, I can also say something to why do I have to figure out who the murderer? Why do I figure out the mystery in Danganronpa? How about no? Like, I can throw that logic into anything.
You don't have the option to not.
Okay.
I mean, you could just get the bad ending and stop playing because that exists.
I do wonder if what they mean is that there still will be puzzles on the main quest. It's just that there are some optional ones if you want to go for extra hidden goodies in that sense.
And maybe you're rewarded more if you do go for the puzzles.
Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think
Such a heartfelt speech. Now, if only the guy didn't look like he was shivering out of his jacket.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year.
It is freezing and Todd Howard is on the other side of the room.
Yeah, it's literally very Todd.
What did you take, Todd? No, don't you see?
It comes out tomorrow.
Don't you see? Todd's actually the real secret villain of the game.
Will that be a twist?
No, we already mentioned later this year. Probably, late summer or fall.
Yeah, the theme seems to be that these are all 2024 releases.
Possibly also will get a delay. Usually when release dates are this big, you're probably gonna get a delay eventually.
Sadly, it seems
So,
we are
is
not...
there a secret one more thing?
I wonder. Because we haven't gotten a shadow drop.
Oh, but we haven't had a narrator.
Oh, where are we going?
Sizzle?
Oh, it's a montage of the games.
It's a montage of all the stuff we already had.
It's weird the way that it was handled. It's like we're watching Unfriended, just someone on their PC.
Well, don't you see, Tio? In a sense, we are someone watching this on a PC. It is super immersive.
Of course.
So yeah,
Let me out.
So yeah, May 21st, 2024. Fall 2024.
Rule how you want to rule. Stay happy.
Also fall 2024 for Avowed.
Anchored in the world we build.
You aren't just
And yeah, Indiana Jones is just plain 2024. Oh, and Visions
So, winter. Maybe.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're setting us up for a winter one with Indiana. Surprised we didn't get a shadow drop. Granted, I guess they didn't want to go full hog to try and artificially recreate the success of Hi-Fi Rush.
Or maybe it's something later down the line this year anyway.
Yeah. It's still early.
I mean, to be fair, they did mention what... Oh, there you go. Thanks for
watching.
They did mention in the preview that we were doing just this 1-4, and Visions of Mana was mostly just, an extra bit. Yeah, also these, so don't worry about these. So essentially, Bethesda is having a later presentation about stuff for Elder Scrolls Online.
There's always time to talk about Skyrim.
No, Todd.
Goodbye.
Go away.
But what about all the mountains that you can climb in the distance?
To be fair, for Elder Scrolls Online, you can kind of do that this time around. But
so it finally came true.
That's besides the point. Final thoughts.
Can I have this?
Sure.
Go on.
Yeah, it's solid enough. I mean, the one that got my curiosity the most was Indiana Jones and the Circle of Life, or whatever it's called.
The Grand Circle.
I'm just gonna call it the Circle of Life because
that does sound cool.
But the rest of it does look pretty fun, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really have much to say. I've already said most of the stuff I can in the that I've seen that I've already said throughout the audio. So there you are.
All right, Shiroi.
Overall, that was a really good presentation. Pretty much everyone got equal showings for their games. There was a lot of gameplay for pretty much all of them. There was the second game that they showed was that the Hellblade game, where it was kind of light on it. They did show some stuff and they did explain it, so that's fine, but it was a bit light compared to the rest. Nothing here looks in any way bad. It's probably all going to be very good. Most of it is just not for me. Like visually, the Mana game is quite appealing to me, and the Indiana Jones one seems cool. I think that's it. Yeah, this was a nice one to start off the year, I think.
All right.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, this was fine. Each of the titles seems solid enough for what they want to do, and the fact that supposedly all of them are being released, all this year, gives a bit of a window to what to expect for the console and PC. I would say the only one that appeals to me the most is sadly the third-party one, Visions of Mana. Don't get me wrong, everything else seems fine for what they want to do. Some a bit better than others, but they always have something that that don't particularly attract me one way or another. But sure, might as well have these released. And again, I get the idea that some of the other titles that are being developed, like Fable, Contraband, and stuff like that, is probably being postponed to next year instead. So we'll have to see what happens to those two. But this was fine for what he wanted to be. Next.
I guess I'll go next then. Yeah, no, this was a good show. Microsoft, like Nintendo, have come a ways in their presentation of this, but yes, I'll admit, like Pedro, I am kind of gonna miss the more awkward days of Inside Xbox, just a bit. That said, to their credit, the presentation of, this developer direct is very nice and, well, direct. Essentially, somebody watching a stream with the files on there and streaming it to fellow watchers. Again, it's basic but also creative in that regard. Now, the presentation aside, the way that they present the games is also good. Like, we see gameplay, I feel like I know enough about each of these games to get a good idea on it, which is what the sort of show should do, nay, excel at in that regard. I'm pleased to announce that each game announced here does get its message across. Avowed looks nice, not really gonna be my thing. Ara looks nice, again, not my thing. Hellblade II. Okay, the visuals and production values definitely seem like they are there. I am somebody who has not yet experienced the first Hellblade, so I'm not as familiar with the series, so I can't say if this looks like it's going to be a vast improvement over the original or whatnot. I will say nothing about it gives me bad vibes, save for how somewhat limited the combat looks, but again, that might just be a personal tasting on my end. Now, Visions of Mana is something I am definitely interested in. Good show there, Square, although it's probably going to be multi-plat, but still.
Yeah, it already, when we announced the Game Awards, it was already mentioned to be multi-plat, but I just didn't know if it was coming to Xbox, already, or they reserve it for here. But no, apparently, even the first news did mention it was also for Xbox, so this was slightly redundant.
I will give them this, that this is a showing of how far Microsoft had come at actually developing a good relationship with Japanese dev companies after a long line of, let's call them unpleasantries and leave it at that, essentially. Like, they seem to be on their feet now with getting Japanese dev support. And Visions of Mana looks like it's going to be a good game. But I will say that my favorite game shown was easily Indiana Jones. And yes, that was even with them being cheeky with Todd Howard pretty much stealing the magical MacGuffin at the end of that trailer. Like, points for self-awareness, Todd Howard is the villain. But no, like, the Indiana Jones game looks pretty great. Like, they got the likeness of Harrison Ford down pat, and his voice sounds on point too. Again, assuming it's not AI in that regard, I really do like what they're doing here. The story, again, does look like it would fit perfectly in line with the films, that if they pull this off, and it is successful enough, I could see Lucas pretty much going, yeah, you know what? Game's canon, essentially.
I remember, Joe, but Lucas doesn't have control anymore on the franchise.
It looks great. I do wish we could have gotten more of a third-person mode for those who prefer it that way, but it does look like it is making good use of the first person. And, they zoom out for third-person bits in parts where, yeah, you're better off having it be third-person rather than just first-person of view with your face rammed against the wall. Combat and puzzle solving looks interesting. Yeah, no, the Indiana Jones and the Grand Circle part was easily my favorite part of the Direct. So, kudos, Microsoft. Good show.
As for me, I'm gonna have to side with Teo. The highlight for me was the new Mana game, because it looks really good. So I'll keep an eye on that. That being like with Indiana Jones, it's just like it's not unexpected. I expected the game to be in first person because it's Bethesda and Machine Games also has experience doing games like those. It's just like a part of me really wanted because the Uncharted games laid out the perfect gaming foundation for Indiana Jones games. Literally the perfect game foundation. Like even recent Tintin games use that. It's just such a good foundation that you can use for this kind of game. So I really wanted an Indiana Jones. I guess I'm gonna still have to keep waiting for the Indiana Jones that plays like that. That being said, this still looks really good for what it is. I'm kind of a bit raising my eyebrows at the puzzles being mostly optional because solving puzzles is kind of one of the big things indie does, so I'm not entirely certain it should be like that. If you want to make
the game more accessible, like Silent Hill was doing separate puzzle difficulty on the PlayStation, I'm pretty sure it's easy to implement that.
In the Marvel Spider-Man games, Insomniac has this accessibility thingy where the puzzles are in the story itself, they're obligatory, but the game gives you an option to skip them for accessibility purposes.
Like I said before, I wonder if the wording meant that, you still do have puzzles for the main game. It's just that we have a ton of extra puzzles as side content for, if you want to get these extra treasures bonuses for, 100% completion and all that.
At best, it's just poor wording doing a PR statement, which is nothing new for these people.
Because I do agree, it would be weird to completely remove puzzles from the main campaign.
That being said, no, the game still looks good. So, I mean, it's not something that's going to make me buy an Xbox console for necessarily. Well, at least not so far. Who knows? Maybe in the future I'll change my mind on that. But I'm not holding my breath so far. Hellblade II. The gameplay looks basically like this is pretty much like the first game, and I didn't care for the gameplay in the first game, so I guess I'll be giving this one a skip then. Maybe I'll watch the story on YouTube, but that's about it. Basically, I'll let Dwibs handle the recording for that one on an eventual future, since he has a Series S and he has Game Pass, so he can just get it there. As for Hellblade 1, right now it's only $3, so I might as well get it on Steam. Why not? The other games, like the strategy game by Oxide, like it looks good, not my kind of thing, because like I prefer my strategy games on the more simple side. So, what else? Avowed. Again, it looks fine, but it's not my cup of tea. It's not really the kind of RPG that I usually go for. So, I guess it's just one of those things where I'm not much of a first-person game type of guy, so it kind of becomes a bit difficult for me to be super excited about these games, because I'm usually more of a third-person game type of person. So, that being said, like I said, the games look perfectly fine for what they are. So I'm sure if you're one of the if you're one of those who are looking forward to them, have at it. That's it.
All right, then. That brings the close to the show, then. Again, overall, not a bad showing. Does give me hope that these products will all be good and serve their purposes proper, while also being good on the quality. So, yeah. We'll see you for the next one, whenever that is.
See ya.
See ya.